Hello children. Today we are going to cover the topic which is distance and displacement. Okay. Yesterday I had explained you what are scalars and vectors. Scalars are quantities which are expressed by only magnitude. Vectors are the quantities which require magnitude as well as they require direction. Then we discussed what is actually rest and what is actually motion. Body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to immediate surroundings, while a body is said to be in motion if it changes its position with respect to the immediate surroundings. Then we studied what is actually one dimensional motion, right? Any body which is moving in a straight line which is having rectilinear motion. So we are studying only one dimensional motion in this lesson. Then how to represent the one dimensional motion in a form of a graph. Okay, this is the representation of one dimensional motion. Okay, now the next concept, the broad concept which we will be studying is the distance and displacement, wherein we are going to focus on few things. So let us begin. Now distance and displacement, if you see, these both are two different terms. Okay, these two are both different terms. So how they are different? Now if you see here, the same diagram I have drawn over there. Now here if you see the black line which is there, it's a curved line. Okay, from A to B that curved line is passing. Okay, you can see the arrowheads also. From A to B it is passing. So this we can say that from A to B is the distance, right? It's the distance. Fine. So if I tell you to walk in a zigzag manner, so you will just walk like this, right? So we can say that this is a curved path A to B, that's the distance. But if you see, there is a red line which is marked from A to B. Now what is this red line actually? This red line is nothing but displacement. This red line is nothing but displacement. Now we will be understanding what is displacement in details. Before that, let us understand what is actually distance. Now we say that distance is nothing but the total length of the path through which a body moves. Okay, the total length of the path through which a body moves. So this is the length. Okay, length of the path, and the body is moving from A to B by this path. So we say distance is the length of path through which a body moves. Then the distance travelled by the body depends on the path followed by the body, right? Is it correct? So distance depends on the path followed. If I am moving like this is the path. Okay, so this I will say that it's the distance. Now distance is a scalar quantity. Okay, distance travelled, we can say, by a body depends on the path followed, and it's a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity means it will be depending only on the magnitude, only on the magnitude, only on the value. Then we say that the unit of distance is given by meter and centimeter. Okay, few more extra things I have written. Distance is always and always positive, and distance may not be 0. Okay, distance cannot be 0. So these are some things about distance. Okay, you have learnt about distance before also in maths also, when you were dealing with the numericals of speed. Yes, so this is about distance. Now the next thing which we have is displacement. Now just now I told you what is displacement, right? From path A to B. Okay, this is displacement. So displacement is the shortest distance from the initial position to the final position of the body. Let's come back to the diagram again. Now if you see, you started from here A, right, and you moved like this, but from A to B we can also reach like this. So that's the shortest distance from initial position to final position. It's the shortest distance from initial position to final position, and we say that it is the magnitude of displacement and its direction from initial to final. So we say the shortest distance from the initial to the final position of the body, and also it's the magnitude of displacement, right? It requires magnitude and displacement. So magnitude of displacement and the direction from initial to final position. So what is the initial position here? A. What is the final position here? B. So from A to B, the shortest distance covered from initial to final position, or the magnitude of displacement as well as the direction from the initial to final position. I hope the displacement is very clear with you. Don't get confused between distance and displacement. These two are different aspects. Okay, now displacement, very important thing, it's a vector quantity. Displacement is a vector quantity, okay, and it can be positive or it can be negative also. Displacement can be positive or it can be negative. How positive or negative, I will let you know. Okay, it depends on the direction. Okay, as well as it can be 0 too. This also point I will be explaining you that how it can be 0. Okay, so SI unit of displacement will be meter and CGS will be centimeter. Now we are going to see the representation of displacement. So how are we going, what is the representation of displacement actually? Okay, the displacement, it's a vector quantity. Have you seen displacement is vector quantity, as well as if we want to represent displacement, we represent it by capital S and we give a small arrow on the top. And if we want to represent distance in a form of a letter, just we will write here S. S for distance and S with an arrow for displacement. Now what does this arrow indicate? This arrow indicates nothing but the direction. This arrow indicates nothing but the direction, and obviously this particular alphabet, it will be given for the magnitude. Okay, so if this is a vector quantity, the arrow is the direction and this particular alphabet, it's the magnitude of it. Okay, I hope it is clear. Then so we always, the displacement being vector, it's represented with a straight line, we can say straight line with an arrow, which is used using a convenient scale. The tip of the arrow, as I told you, it indicates the direction, while the length of the straight line on the proper scale represents its magnitude. So when we are representing it over here, it represents the magnitude. Now let's see. Now this is P and Q, right? Initial position P, final position Q. Now here we say that PQ has to cover a displacement of 40 meters in east direction. So here I have drawn the thing north, south, east, west. So if you see, P has moved from P, it's moved to the last position, final position Q. So P initial, Q final, and it has covered a displacement of 40 meter towards the east. So this is how we represent the displacement. So this is the P term, P origin, Q terminus. Why P is called origin? Because it started from here. Q is called terminus because it's ended here. So P has moved up till Q 40 meters in east direction. So this is the representation of the displacement. This is how is the representation of displacement. To make an arrow over here. So this is the terminus, P is the terminus, Q is P is the origin, Q is the terminus. I hope it is clear now. Okay, so this is about displacement. Now what did we say about displacement? Shortest distance from initial to final position. Now let us see the differences between distance and displacement. Now first point, magnitude of displacement is either equal to or less than the distance. One thing is there, displacement can never be greater than the distance traveled by the body. Okay, which means that I'll explain you. First we will see here that there is a fixed direction. Okay, now here if you see the example, 40 meters it covered towards the east, so it gave me a fixed direction. Okay, so here we can say that magnitude of distance is equal to the magnitude of displacement because it is covering 40 meters, right? If the motion is along a fixed direction, I am reading the first point on page 29. Point number 1, magnitude of displacement, it is either equal or less than the distance. So here they have given a statement that motion is along a fixed direction, the magnitude of displacement is equal to that of the distance. So if the motion is in fixed direction, as we had example of this, so it's 40 meters towards the east, so we can say that the magnitude of displacement, okay, the magnitude of displacement will be equal to the magnitude of distance. When can be this possible? When it is moving in a fixed direction. Okay, when it is moving in a fixed direction. Now here, magnitude of distance is equal to magnitude of displacement. Now let us take the example of this. Okay, but if the motion is in a curved or a zigzag path, I am reading page 29, the magnitude of displacement is always less than that. How less than that? The question comes. Now here this is a zigzag. For example, you are walking like that in a zigzag path from P to Q. Fine. So this is what? Okay, this is actually your distance. Okay, this is actually your distance. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I'm sorry. So here, if we see, this is a curved path. Okay, so here, from here to here you are moving. Now from P to Q, okay, I have drawn a blue dotted line. P to Q indicates what? It indicates my displacement. Why displacement? Shortest distance from initial to final position. Shortest distance from initial to final position. Now if I go to measure this curved line, the zigzag path, okay, the magnitude of distance will be greater than magnitude of displacement. Are you understanding why it will be greater? This will obviously, when you look at it also, you can see, you can observe that distance is more, but what about the displacement? The displacement is less. So here I will say magnitude of the distance is greater than magnitude of displacement. However, we say that magnitude, okay, magnitude of distance, okay, magnitude of distance is, we say, never, it's never greater than magnitude of displacement. Now the question will be arising, why? Because the reason is this, it's the shortest distance. If it is the shortest distance, how can it be, I mean, how can the distance which is there be greater than that, right? Are you understanding? Magnitude of displacement is, okay, I'm sorry, sorry for the mistake. Magnitude of displacement can never be greater than distance. Okay, so displacement which is there, it can never be greater. Displacement which is there, it can be never greater than distance. I'm sorry, this magnitude of displacement which is there, it can never be greater than distance. So if I want to represent it, I'll represent it like this: magnitude of displacement, okay, is never greater than magnitude of distance. Sorry for the mistake. So I hope these points are very clear for you. Okay, so there are two things which are mentioned in this. Magnitude of displacement is either equal, when it is equal, when it is in the fixed direction, that time magnitude of displacement is equal to magnitude of distance. And second point is, when we say that if the motion is in the curved or a zigzag path, magnitude of distance, okay, magnitude of distance is greater than magnitude of displacement. And third point, the magnitude of displacement can never be greater than the magnitude of distance. Okay, magnitude of displacement can never be greater than the magnitude of distance. I hope it's clear. Sorry for the mistakes. Okay, now here they have given few examples which we will be going. First point, okay, the body, first example which I have already made you clear, a body moves from a curved path A to B. Okay, that's the same example also you can take, or you can take the example of figure 2.2. okay, here figure 2.2 example you can take. The body moves from A to B in a curved path. Distance travelled by the body is equal to the length of curved path AB. So this is already clear with you. Is either this is the distance AB and the dotted line is the displacement. So here what happened? Magnitude of displacement less than magnitude of distance. Clear? I hope this is clear. Magnitude of displacement less than magnitude of distance. Okay, then another example is there. Okay, here they have given us an example that there's a boy. Okay, one boy, he moves 4 kilometers towards east and then 3 kilometers towards north. 4 kilometers towards east, 3 kilometers towards north. We have to find out the distance it travelled. So total distance will be 4 kilometers towards east, 3 kilometers towards north. 4 plus 3, 7. So he travelled a distance of 7 kilometers like this. But if I want to find out the displacement, So OA plus AB gave me the distance. So here displacement shortest distance, right? It's the shortest distance traveled. So OB from OB, it will be 5 kilometer northeast. Now here, if we can get this answer by taking this at a perpendicular position. Okay, later on we will be having numericals, that time it will be more clear. 4 square 16 plus 3 square 9, 16 plus 9, it gives you 25, 25 square root 5. So by applying Pythagoras theorem, we can get the distance OB over here. So what is OB over here? OB is the shortest distance travelled from position O to B. So his displacement, the displacement of the boy will be 5 kilometer and his distance will be 7 kilometer. So magnitude is given by straight line from an initial to final position. So if you see the magnitude which is there, the magnitude, okay, of the displacement here is given by the straight line from initial to final position. Magnitude is given by the straight line from initial to final position. I hope this is clear to everyone, these points. I hope these points are also clear. What is actually how does a displacement is equal to distance, or how displacement is less than distance. I hope it is clear. Just go through the context one more time. So this is the example I have already explained you. Now let's go to the second point. Second point states that distance is always positive, but displacement can be negative, okay, or positive depending on the direction, right? So we can say distance is always positive because it will be always the path followed, but displacement is the shortest distance from initial to final. So depending on the direction, depending upon the direction of the body, it can be negative, okay, or positive. Is it okay? It can be negative also, or it can be positive also. It can be negative or positive depending on the direction. So distance is always positive, but displacement can be negative depending on the direction, okay, or positive. Then the third point, displacement, okay, can be 0 even if distance is not 0. Even if the distance is not 0, displacement can be 0. How can displacement be 0 now? Okay, so let us see. If a body after traveling comes back to its starting point, the displacement is 0, but the distance travelled is non-zero. So what we are saying, that if I tell you that start from where you are sitting, okay, touch the door of wherever you are sitting, touch the door and come back and sit onto your place. So your distance is actually whatever path you travelled, but your displacement will be 0. How? That we will see now. Okay, so let us see how it will be 0. Now there is one example they have given us. Two examples are there. I have drawn here. First example is when the ball is thrown at a height upwards. Okay, vertically it is thrown. So here let us see what happens over here. If the ball is at initial position O, I threw the ball, it reached point B, and then again it came back to my position A. So if I say the ball covered 5 meters distance when it went up and 5 meters distance when it came down, so distance is 5 plus 5, which gives me 10. But what about the displacement? Displacement here 5 meters, coming back 5 meters, so 5 meters shortest distance travelled, 5 meter here, 5 meter here, so 5 meter minus 5 meter gives me 0. Initial position 5, final position 5, 5 minus 5 will give me 0. So did you understand? When a body is thrown vertically upwards from a point A on the ground, after some time it comes back to the same point, right? It will go up and come back due to gravity. So distance travelled will be 2h, as I told you, 5 meter up, 5 meter, so 10. But what about the displacement? Displacement will be 0. Okay, distance will be non-zero. Non-zero means it will have some value. I hope this example is clear. Then second example. This is an interesting example. Body moving in a circular path. Okay, reaches its original position after 1 round. Suppose I told you to take a circle. So this boy started from here. He went. He came back again. So if I want to find out the distance he travelled, what will I do? I'll find out the circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r. Once again, if I tell him to start from A, he will take a big circle, big round, and come back over here again. I want to find out the distance he travelled. So what did I do? I found the circumference of the circle. Okay, but if I tell him, okay, to start from here and come back again here, then that time his displacement will be 0. How 0 it will be? Because he will start here, again come back over here, right? So there is no displacement. What is displacement? Shortest distance traveled. He goes, okay, he is over here, okay, and he can come back over here again. So there is no, what we can say, no displacement at all. It's the shortest distance. If I go to calculate the shortest distance, he can come over here, right, from A again to B. So that will be 0. So the displacement over here will be 0. So I hope all the points are very clear. Distance will be 2 pi r because circumference, displacement 0. I hope all these points of distance and displacement are very clear to you. How is the magnitude of distance equal to magnitude of displacement? How is the magnitude of distance greater than the magnitude of displacement? How magnitude of displacement is less than magnitude of distance? All this should be very clear. Okay, then we can just differentiate between distance and displacement over here. If you see, the same points are given, so you can just read the points. The same thing is given over here. Okay, they have given in distance also the same thing. It can be more than or equal to the magnitude of displacement, and its magnitude can be less than or equal to the distance, but can never be greater than the distance. Okay, so this is about distance and displacement. Okay, now I will just give you an introduction about speed, okay, and then we will stop. Speed is nothing but the rate of the change of the distance with time. Okay, rate of the change of distance with time. You have learnt about speed in your 7th standard also. Okay, you know how to find out the speed. What is the formula for speed? Distance upon time. So rate of change of distance with time, or distance travelled in 1 second, is called as speed. Okay, with speed we will be learning about velocity also. Today only we will see speed. What's the scalar quantity? It's a scalar quantity. Speed is a scalar quantity. It's given by u or v. Speed equals to distance upon time. SI unit you know already. I am going quick because this is already known to you. It's already done to you. Meter per second or centimeter per second. That's called as speed. So if a body travels in distance s, it's given by s. Body is traveling at a distance s in time t. Speed v is given by distance upon time. So if we want to write it in form of the formulas, v equal to s upon t. Okay, v equals to s upon t. It can be given by u or it can be given by v. Then what is uniform speed and what is non-uniform speed? Body moving with uniform speed. If a body is said to be in uniform speed, it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. Equal distances, so 0 to 5, 1 second, 5 to 10, 2 seconds. So if you take out their speed, what is speed? Distance upon time, 5 upon 1, okay, 5 upon 1, 5, okay, 10 upon 2, 5, 15 upon 3, 5. So what is happening? Uniform speed, if it covers equal distances, 5, 10, so here 5, 5, in equal intervals of time, 1, 1. So we say that it's in uniform speed. Non-uniform speed, body is said to be moving with non-uniform if it covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time. For example, 0, okay, in 1 second it moved 5, then it moved 15 in 2 seconds. For example, I am just giving an example. In 3 seconds it moves 17. So you see, it's unequal distances in equal interval of time, then it is non-uniform speed. Okay, example of uniform speed is a ball moving on a frictionless surface. Okay, ball moving on frictionless surface. An example of non-uniform speed, for non-uniform speed we have many examples: motion of a ball on the rough surface, motion of the car in a crowded area, then a train, a motion of vehicle leaving or approaching a station. Then we have another, or a destination, vehicle leaving or approaching a destination. Then we have two different things for non-uniform speed: instantaneous speed and average speed. Instantaneous speed, if the speed of the body keeps on changing, then what do we do? Okay, for that we take the speed at any instant. Okay, and if we it keeps on changing, so speed at any particular instant can be taken as distance travel in a short interval of time. So in the short interval of time, how much was the distance travelled upon the time interval gives us instantaneous speed. So speedometer which is there in the vehicle, okay, the speedometer which is there, it measures the instantaneous speed. And average speed is what, you know this, total distance traveled upon total time taken gives you the average speed. Okay, instantaneous speed, I said, what is instantaneous speed? Distance traveled in the short interval of time upon time interval. Average speed is total distance upon total time taken. Okay, speedometer calculates the instantaneous speed, and average speed you can get it if you have 2 or more readings. You can take out the average speed of the particular body. Okay, now one more important thing, instantaneous speed and average speed are equal if the body is in uniform speed. In case of a body, if it is moving in a uniform speed, instantaneous speed and average speed are equal. Instantaneous speed, average speed are equal. I hope these two aspects are clear. Body moving with uniform speed if it is covering equal distances in equal interval of time. Non-uniform, unequal distances in equal interval of time. Okay, so here S equals to Vt is nothing but the formula for distance if you want to find out the distance. So I hope these all aspects are very clear. Tomorrow we will be starting with velocity. So today we have covered up what all things? Speed, distance, displacement, as well as representation. I want every one of you to just read these important points, because these are the basics for understanding the motion in one dimension. Okay, thank you everyone.